Myth number 1. The crashing UFO will kill you if you're standing in its impact zone. After reaching level 20, you may encounter a UFO flying quickly overhead before crashing in the distance, leaving a distinct trail of smoke. The ship always crashes in the same location, so to test this, I'll stand directly at the crash site and see if I can survive. Wow, okay, I did survive. And it doesn't seem like it did any damage to me. Even the flames don't do anything. So, myth busted. Myth number 2. You can survive the nuclear explosion of the Yangtze submarine. When helping Captain Zhao fix the submarine during the Here There Be Monsters side quest, you're tasked with retrieving a dampening coil and a warhead. At one point, you can insert the warhead into the submarine's reactor, causing a massive explosion that kills you and anyone nearby. But is it possible to survive this explosion in any way? Let's find out. To test this, I'll be using console commands. So since your character becomes frozen in place after inserting the warhead, I'll use the Force Enable Player Controls command to regain movement. I'll then attempt to run straight to the exit. And nope, you still die outside the sub. Next, I'll teleport further away near the Custom House Tower. Still no luck, the explosion is still too powerful. What about Diamond City? Surely I can't be reached there. Wow, this explosion is intense. Not only do I die, but the NPCs around me are also affected. The blast seems to engulf the entire Commonwealth. I tried teleporting to Bunker Hill, the Institute, and even as far Harbor. But no matter where I go, the explosion follows. So unless you use God mode, you can't survive the nuclear explosion of the Yangtze submarine. The Giddy-Up Buttercup toy horse can kill you if it falls on your head. As you all know, this toy horse is surprisingly heavy, so heavy that you can't even move it without picking it up in your inventory. So what I'm going to do is drop one on a slightly slated rooftop area, stand underneath it, and use a fragmentation grenade to make it fall. Do your worst, Buttercup! Yup, you can indeed die from a Giddy-Up Buttercup falling on your head. Myth confirmed. You can survive jumping into Swan's Pond from a high altitude. In order to investigate this myth, I used the Settle Everywhere mod, allowing me to place a workbench anywhere on the map and build structures. I constructed a tower right next to the pond, as tall as the Trinity Tower, the highest building in the base game. After many attempts, I actually managed to land in the pond without dying, though I'm not exactly sure how. It seems you can just randomly survive the fall. You can also see that my character is taking radiation damage, which means I'm not using God mode. So yeah, you can survive. You can overdose on chems and die. This seems like it should be true. What I'm gonna do is take 100 of each chem that Mama Murphy uses for her site, which eventually leads her to OD. So I've got 100 Jet, Psycho, Buff Out, Mentats, and Medics. Let's do this.
Yeah. Bring it!
Well, I'm still alive. Let's continue. So it seems like nothing happens other than you get addicted to a bunch of chems. I even tried the same thing in survival mode, and the only difference there was that you get fatigued and thirsty. That's about it. Myth busted. You can obtain unlimited amount of fusion cells and Institute pistols during the Call to Arms quest. When accompanying Dance in search of a deep-range transmitter in ArcJet systems during the Call to Arms quest, you'll eventually reach the engine core. At one point, Dance will ask you to find a way to restore power to that section of the facility so you can use the elevator. After doing so, Dance will be attacked by a wave of synths, jumping down to engage him. If you don't assist him or activate the engine core's rocket to kill the synths, you can close the doors and just let Dance handle them. Since he is an essential NPC and cannot be killed, he'll continuously defeat the synths. After a while, you'll have a pile of dead synths with fusion cells and Institute pistols. You can essentially farm them here indefinitely. You can launch yourself using the junk mortar and survive. Some players claim that you can launch yourself from the junk mortar and survive without taking damage. Let's see if that's true. I built the junk mortar in Sanctuary and attached the terminal to increase its power to the maximum, which is 10. Then I positioned McCready next to the switch to activate the mortar and placed myself inside. Here we go. Well, you can definitely launch yourself, and surprisingly, you don't take any damage. The downside is it doesn't shoot you very far, and you hit an invisible ceiling. Still, myth confirmed. The Red Death encountered on the Red Death Island is not the real Red Death. Recently, I've discovered discussions on Reddit suggesting that the real Red Death in the Far Harbor DLC is much bigger and stronger than the one we faced during the Mariner's Quest. According to these posts, the creature on the Red Death Island is just its offspring. Some sources claim that the real Red Death emits such high levels of radiation that approaching it is impossible, while others say it's one of the toughest bosses in the game, taking hours or even days to defeat. To investigate, I searched the Red Death Island thoroughly and also examined the surrounding waters, but I didn't find anything. After looking through the creation kit, I found only the smaller Red Death with some props and other miscellaneous items, and this mythical creature doesn't appear to be found anywhere else on the island. So unless I missed something, it seems that the stories of the real Red Death are false, probably created to scare other players. Dead companions can still give you lover's embrace. I've got my girl Piper here with maxed out affinity, and I'm using a mod that removes the essential status from companions. Now I'll set her body on the bed and go to sleep. And yup, dead companions can still give you lover's embrace. That's pretty freaky. You can use synth relay grenades on the Pridwin without making the Brotherhood of Steel turn hostile towards you. I've got a couple of relay grenades ready, now I'll summon the synths and see if the Brotherhood attacks me.
Attacking is emanating damage. By order of the Institute, you must be destroyed.
Nope, they're only attacking the synths. It seems they don't realize I'm the one summoning them. Feral ghouls bathe in irradiated water. This one's a bit strange. There's a claim that feral ghouls will sometimes bathe or wash themselves when standing in irradiated water. To see if this was true, I went to the Cambridge crater and observed the ghouls there for a while. I did notice that some of them would sit down in the water and start moving their arms in a way that looked like they were washing themselves. Curious, I went into the creation kit and searched through the animations for feral ghouls to see if there was a specific animation for bathing or washing. It turns out the closest animation to what I observed is called sit on floor eating pose, which is an idle animation for ghouls that makes them sit on the ground and eat. So sadly, no, feral ghouls do not bathe in irradiated water. You can block Mirelurk Queen's melee attacks with your bare hands. I'm going to attempt this at level 1, wearing nothing but a vault suit. Let's see if I can block her attacks and stay alive. Yup, it's a bit tricky, but it can be done. Myth confirmed. Settlers can die from using the power cycle, so these cycles, which can be built if you have the Vault Tec Workshop DLC, generate power for your settlement when settlers are assigned to it. I assigned 3 settlers to 3 power cycles, and sped up the in-game time to see what happens. We have a casualty, and that confirms it. Settlers can die from riding the power cycle. You can heal feral ghouls with the Gamma Gun. Here's a crippled ghoul with half of its health gone. Now I'm going to use the Gamma Gun on it to see if it heals it or kills it. It actually heals them. The ghoul is back to full health, although the gun doesn't seem to heal their crippled limbs. Myth confirmed. You can kill Paladin Brandis after persuading him to rejoin the Brotherhood in his bunker and still encounter him later on the Pridwin. In the Lost Patrol side quest, after following the distress signals and discovering the fallen Brotherhood members, you'll eventually be led to Recon Bunker Theta, where the last surviving member, Paladin Brandis, can be found alive. If your charisma is high enough, you can persuade him to rejoin the Brotherhood.
All right, I'll get my things. Head to the airport.
So the myth is that you can kill him in the bunker as he's preparing to leave and still see him later. Let's see if that's true.
The Brotherhood.
Alright, I've killed him and looted his Black Brotherhood uniform, which is actually kinda rare. Now I'll turn in the quest to Captain Kells, leave and wait a week in Sanctuary, and then return to the Pridwin to see if he appears. There he is, Paladin Brandis, but now with an olive-colored Brotherhood uniform.
Welcome back, Paladin.
This apparently happens because the Brandis in the bunker is a separate NPC from the one that appears on the Pridwin. It seems that the game doesn't recognize that the bunker version was killed, so it still spawns the Pridwin's version. You can defeat Overboss Coulter without using the Thirst Zapper, so there's actually a couple of ways you can do this. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a Stealth Boy and sneak all the way around him, then reverse pickpocket a live grenade on him. And boom, he's dead. It's just that simple. You can throw heavy objects at NPCs to kill them without consequences. Alright, so let me pick up this empty trash can and see if I can kill this guy by just throwing it at him. Nothing happened. Let me try a couple of more times. There we go. It takes a couple of tries, but you can kill NPCs with heavy objects, and their friends won't attack you. You can save the people outside the gate in Far Harbor at the beginning of the DLC. When you first arrive in Far Harbor, Captain Avery will ask you to help defend the town against the attacking gulpers and anglers. Just before the attack, 4 survivors will run to the now closed gate, asking to be let inside. The mariner will deny them entry because of the gulpers already approaching. Equipped with a fat man and a few fragmentation mines, I fought off the creatures, which was actually not that hard with this combo. You do need to be very careful though, as the survivors can easily die if even one of the gulpers gets through. Once all the creatures were defeated, I checked on the survivors, and they were all safe. One of them, Jared, even thanked me for the help.
Avery and the others were just doing their jobs, but you ain't one of us. We owe you, and Harbormen pay their debts. Here.
Afterwards, they all head to the dock area and disappear after a day or two. You can melee mole rat and rad scorpion burrow holes to force them out. Apparently, when a mole rat or a rad scorpion burrows underground, you can hit the burrow with a melee attack to either kill them or force them out, depending on how strong they are. I tested this a few times and it's true. Especially mole rats, you can just kill them in there. I didn't know this before. If you steal a Super Mutant Suicider's mini-nuke, they won't be able to explode. I'm going to stealthily steal their mini-nuke and see if they can still blow up.
Super 2, what is it?
Well, it looks like they have a backup nuke hidden somewhere, because even after stealing it, they can still explode.